What is up, guys? This is Deuce, and welcome to the first episode of the GridironThings podcast. As I said, I am Deuce,
I'm Dak.
and we have a special guest with us today. Zion. A couple ago, Zion, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Zion. You can find me on Twitter. My @ is Zepstep, ZEPSTEP. I'm just starting to get into the sports media world, so thank you guys for having me on.
Anytime.
For sure.
All right.
So the first episode of GridironThings is going to start off, and not just any top 10 list where you just name players. This is a top 10 list of greatest what ifs in NFL history from each of us. So 30 players in total. But before we get that, we've got a little bit of NFL news. The Kyler Murray contract. Kyler Murray, $230 million, I believe.
Yeah.
But the contract isn't a thing that happened with Kyler Murray. It's the obligation. So in this contract, there was specifically stated avoid the contract. It did not do 4 hours of study per week.
Oh wow. I didn't even hear about all that. Like when I seen
Yeah,
the TikTok you made, that's when I got knowledge of it.
I've been.
Pretty. Oh yeah, go ahead.
My bad. I've been seeing it all. I'm pretty from Twitter to TikTok to YouTube. I've been seeing so many people talk about it, and I honestly think it's crazy. Shannon Sharp said the same thing. When you have to put in a contract for somebody to do their job, it's a major red flag. And yeah, I just don't think it's a good look on Kyler or the team's part because they just spent a lot of money. They guaranteed him a lot of money. I think it was $160 million or somewhere around that. It's in the hundreds of millions. So that's a lot of money for a guy that you're not sure he's doing his job when he's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we see late season breakdown by Kyler Murray and the Cardinals in general. Example, the Cardinals started out 7-0 in football, and then after the loss to Green Bay,
It did. Yeah. I don't know because even back to that situation where he took all the Cardinals post off his page, everything. I feel like Kyler just doesn't handle anything right as an NFL player.
Yeah,
that might be a kid.
That might be why, when all that stuff happened, he was basically saying that the organization was using him as a scapegoat. So they was probably getting on him about studying and doing all this, and that's probably why he got mad initially and did all that social media stuff.
Yeah, but then they should stop.
Well, I feel like studying at the quarterback position is so vital for them because there's a lot of stuff that you have to know, like the tendencies of the defenses and everything, just so you can be on par with all your receivers and so that y'all are thinking the same thing, y'all are on the same page and everything. I feel like stuff like the AJ Green thing, even though that wasn't on Kyler, I feel like that's a lack of studying on AJ Green's part, but it can show what can happen when people don't do film study properly.
Exactly.
Yeah, the fact that was even an obligation of the contract really implies that maybe watching film still.
Yeah, I've never heard that in any sport. Actually, I never heard anything that's putting in a basketball player's contract. Oh, you gotta practice free throws every practice. Just stuff that you would think is common sense or that's set in stone already that you have to require it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely crazy.
Studying film should be one of
Like
your top priorities as a football player. I
he
do it myself.
he should have had that down pat like in exiting out of high school. Like I know so many players, like college players, high school players, like around my age, who does intense film study just so they can be better players. So
Mm.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And yeah, really, nobody like ever had anything happen to them in the sports world, really. But is that I can think of off the top of my head is the Jamarcus Russell situation
Yeah,
with empty film tapes,
Yeah,
and he came back and said what, and it turns out the tape,
yeah,
which
yeah.
which leads to Jamarcus Russell not lasting long in the NFL.
waiting for him.
But I feel like it's more serious when with Kyler's situation when they're giving him such a huge contract. Like his contract is very close to, well, I wouldn't say very close, but it's up there top five. Like especially with the amount of guaranteed money they gave him upon signing, is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I want to say he deserves. I gotta see it first.
I definitely gotta see it.
Yeah, I'm still skeptical of him and Cliff Kingsbury in the late season, and if they can actually finish the season out, because
Mm-hmm.
Cliff has never, even back to his college days, he's always fallen apart in the late season. But my thing is, if it's not, I don't see another head coach, like somebody who could step in that team and like immediately make them better.
Right.
Not
But
at the moment.
Kyler's definitely a lot of practice through training camp, which just started today. Training camps,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're already hearing talks of coming to due to situations. A couple of players so far that are known to be holding out are Jesse Bates, DK, and I'm sure there's missed on my head. People that want contracts, people that want to get signed to big money deals, seeing all organizations this offseason.
I'm I'm kind of confused about the Derwin James situation because
Same.
I
I was
really
just gonna say
haven't
that.
I really haven't seen all off season that there was problem with his contract. He seemed like he was like the main person advocating for like the JC Jackson signing and all the help on defense. And then Brandon Staley was putting it out there that they wanted to build around Derwin James and how he was like the building piece of their defense. So I'm kind of confused about that one. And the DK and all the other ones, I have heard previously that DK was going to sit out, but I'm not I'm not sure like what they can do in that predicament. The Seahawks, either they can trade him and just go like for a total rebuild because they're already rebuilding, so they could get more draft picks from that, but or they could use him to try to set up Drew Lock in a good position, or any other. They might go in next year's draft and draft high, get either like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or someone
Mhm.
like that. And a guy like DK would be very important for a rookie quarterback who's coming into the league.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
agree.
Yeah, back to the Derwin James situation. He hasn't played a full season in how long? A season or two?
I think it's been two
If I'm not
years.
mistaken. 2 years. I don't understand why he wants a big contract. You still have to prove yourself that you're still that dog that you were a few seasons ago.
I feel like there's a question mark surrounding the Chargers. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not completely sold on Brandon Staley as their coach. I just this year they have to make a big splash. Like they have to shake up the league in major ways because they've spent a lot of money. They have a lot of talent. they have a lot of notable players and stars and playmakers, so they have to do something this year to accommodate for that.
I definitely there. In there, Justin Herbert was drafted.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Chargers have to build that. Even the defense per se, they went out and got a bunch of studs. They got the old linemen. They have all the pieces to set up for success, but we just have to see action.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And with that said, training camp will for the next few weeks. And the next preseason game, well, the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, Jaguars and Raiders, is August 4th.
I'll definitely tune into that.
Looking forward to it. I just need football back like ASAP.
Yeah,
I cannot.
Honestly, life has been
I'm
miserable.
I'm like a fiend. Like I cannot live without football, bro.
yeah. Just watch NFL Plus Tuesday. As I was riding in the car, I was just scrolling through, watching random games because I just missed football so much.
That's why a lot of times, like, the whole Tua situation when the Dolphins media posted like his underthrow to Tyreek Hill, and people were wondering like why that got so much like heat behind it. When it's nothing happening in football, a lot of these fans would like pick for any little thing to like digest so that they could just get their football nick out. Like it's crazy how these fans are. That's why like the market is so huge for spring football in the USFL and the XFL. One of them's trying to fill in that spot. So
doesn't seem like there's much other news going on in the NFL right now, but it will definitely, most certainly, pick up in the next maybe the next couple hours. Said we can start heading straight into the top 10 greatest in football. I'm gonna give everybody a second to get their list together.
I got it ready. I'm good. I'm ready. So
does anyone want to start?
We should let Zion start first.
Okay, I'll start out.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so on my top 10 list of the what ifs, my number 10 player is Bo Jackson. And the obvious what if is what if he didn't injure his hip that ended his career. Bo Jackson, a lot of people have him as one of the greatest athletes of any sport. He he played in 2 professional sports, the MLB and the NFL. He was the first player to play in the All-Star games in both sports. He was having a great career and it ended early. He only played 4 seasons and it ended with him dislocating his hip. Many people predict that if he's played even a couple more seasons, he would definitely go down as one of the top 10 greatest players in NFL history. Some people already have him there like as it is, but I wouldn't personally put him there. But I feel like if he did have a normal career time span, he would definitely be up there.
Yeah, I definitely.
That was a good one.
I think I'll go next. Number 10, I brought him up earlier. At number 10, I have Jamarcus Russell if he cared about football. Now, an absolute beast in college. And coming off of that last year, he shot up and was drafted number 1 to the Raiders. And then everything started to go bad. It just was bad off the rip. Jamarcus Russell didn't really want to be there, and it was clear to the organization and the coaches and the other players that Jamarcus Russell just didn't care. One of the greatest talents at the time, he got to the stage and just kind of ran. It all came to a when the situation tapes didn't and basically really had to be babysat in order to do that. Kind of failed, but the if he cared, if he put in the work, if, even as close as he was, Marcus Russell would end up, not anything crazy like top 20, 30, probably top 20, 30 quarterbacks of all time. It was a great way of talent, and I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I agree. A lot of people, he was definitely a generational talent. A lot of people were very high on him coming out of the draft. Uh, he just same thing. A lot of great college QBs go through this. Like same with Johnny Manziel, they just get too much in the party life and the alcohol and the drugs or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case is. It's everything that distracts them from football. Um, you the sport is just so serious. You have to be 100% dedicated in it. Still going back to the Kyler thing, like you have to be dedicated in every aspect of it, in practice and film study and training and rehab. That's what makes like players like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning so great. They
Yeah,
spent their whole lives, all of their day, only football, just football.
Yeah.
that's true. It requires like so much hard to even get
Yeah.
there, and your chance, you're not likely to get another one, especially in situations like this in which he didn't get another choice.
Yeah, he was recently on the Pivot podcast, I'm pretty sure. Um, I think he called himself the biggest bust of the NFL history, and I can 100% agree with that.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, that's just a sad case, bro. Especially for the black quarterback. So we don't have too many great black quarterbacks, and he definitely would have been up there.
yeah, but compared to
No,
back then,
even if like the reports of like, have you seen the Lamar Jackson like, oh,
yeah,
if he wins 12 MVPs, and say they have one about Patrick Mahomes, like, oh, it's I feel like it's getting a little out of hand. Um, But like, yeah, we definitely it is starting to change in our favor. Well, like in the favor of black quarterbacks, and the stigma's starting to change because of people like Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, who's getting it done with their legs, their feet, their arms, everything. And they're showing that they could definitely hang in there with the rest of the league.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Well,
now
it's
it's
on
time
to
to go
me now.
back to number 10. Let's go.
My number 10 is Josh Gordon if he put down the ganja. um, we all know how good Josh Gordon was, and I mean, Josh Gordon, he could have been probably one of the top receivers in the league today. He's only like
Yeah,
I think he's like 28, maybe. He still would be in the league currently. Um,
yeah,
he missed the 2015 and 2016 season due to drugs, and I believe he got signed. No, he played 6 games with the Browns that 2017 season, and I think he got released, if not traded, to the Patriots.
yeah. He played for us.
Yeah,
He was pretty deep. He was good for us for Well, he was pretty good for us, I would say. Yeah, you can continue.
yeah. I honestly still want to see Josh Gordon play to this day. I'm not gonna say he's my favorite receiver, but I loved watching dude play. He was just all around receiver. But sometimes substances get the best of people.
Yeah,
He got signed with the Chiefs, I think, last year, but he couldn't really see the field all too much because they just have a lot of playmakers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe now, since that big spot has opened up, he can compete for a job and get more snaps and stuff. But even
yeah,
still, they
hopefully.
got Juju, and Sky Moore and all these other people.
Yeah,
So
talent. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do if he ever gets a chance. Then
Yeah, of
we
course.
can go on to the, we can go on to the number 9.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll say my number ninth best player in NFL history, if things had changed, is Tony Gonzalez. If he had a QB, so Tony played. Well, a lot of people. Well, some people might argue that he's already the best tight end in NFL history, but I completely disagree with that. I think it's hands down Gronk, but I definitely see the size of it. Tony's played with a bunch of different quarterbacks, and the only notable ones that he's played with was like uh, Matt Ryan, but that was very early in his career. Uh, People like Trent Green and Elvis Garback, like those guys were like basic players. I wouldn't even put them top 15. I'm not sure, but despite all the mediocre QBs he's played with, he holds the records for a lot of different things for tight ends. He has the most career touchdowns, receptions, and yards. And he, if when you look at all the great tight ends, they all have had a great quarterback. Like Gronk had Brady. Like Antonio Gates had Phillip Rivers. Shannon Sharp had John Elway. Kelsey has Mahomes, and so on. And Tony Gonzalez is really the only one who hasn't had that consistent, great quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like your list
I,
so far. You've had two I don't have.
exactly.
Yeah, good list. At my number 9 greatest players, if something had changed, was Rick traded. Um, now Williams probably is like, still top running backs of all time, in my opinion. He
Mm.
passed it on the Dolphins. Had so much for him. And then on draft, he got traded. Washington threw the whole at Miami, and it was just so surprising. There was no in it was 2000s, early 2000s, and biggest mega ever happened. It was like one of the first of the time. And immediately when Ricky Williams got to Washington, his production went down. From an all-time great, nearly in to kind of mediocre in Washington, and I feel like it was just for my and uh, gave it away uh, for tons of draft picks.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I would love watching Ricky Williams highlights personally, because I'm a running back myself IRL. So I like his game, and dude was definitely he could have definitely been a generational talent if stuck around quite longer. Where did Zion go? He must have got kicked out.
Yeah.
Wait a second, guys.
Oh, there he is. That's good.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened. They just kicked me out of this
Yeah,
thing, but
it happened
Happens
to me.
sometimes.
Yeah.
This Riverside still in its early stages. I expect it to get a lot better.
all right.
But
But
I had just
You did the
Just
Ricky
finished.
Williams.
Ricky Williams if he had never got traded to Washington.
Yeah. Okay, that.
My number 9 spot is Andrew Luck if he never injured his ankle and retire. Andrew Luck is personally my favorite QB after Peyton Manning. So I'm kind of an Andrew Luck guy, and it was sad to see him go because honestly he was really good, and if he would have just waited it out with Indianapolis, I feel like he would have fit like that team right now probably would have been a Super Bowl contender.
I
Andrew Luck
agree.
was a good QB in my opinion. And just the team that they have now, I feel like all they're missing is a good QB. Not saying Matt Ryan isn't a good QB, but Matt Ryan is later on in his career. I don't think he had a lot of seasons left to give. Maybe like 2, maybe 3. But if they had Andrew Luck, still, I feel like that team would definitely be good.
I agree.
I completely.
I also have Andrew Luck on my list, but I have him later on, and I have like a different what if for him, so I'll just save that for later on.
Okay, that's cool.
I have him on my list as well.
All right, so number 8.
Yeah.
Yep, the number 8
Okay,
spot.
so my number 8 is Sterling Sharp if he didn't get injured. For those of you who don't know, Sterling Sharp is Shannon Sharp's older brother.
Oh, dude.
Oh man, give him one more second. It seems to only happen when you're on here for the first time.
Yeah, because it hasn't happened to me since the first time. We'll
Yeah,
be
it's
all right.
weird.
Bear with us, guys.
I'll cut this out.
Yeah.
Okay, it kicked me
Okay.
again, but let me
Yeah.
continue. Okay, so my number 8 player was Sterling Sharp. He had a great career, but it ended early, sadly, because he suffered a neck injury. He was only 29 years old, so I'm very confident he could have played at least 3 or 4 more years. Um, he played 8 seasons, I believe, and he never missed a game, if I believe. So he had incredible health. It was just that one time he landed the wrong way, and it ended his career. Um, was great with receptions. He has more. Yeah, well, let me see if I read this right. He never missed a game. He had 595 passes for 8,000 over 8,000 yards and 65 touchdowns. He has more yards per games than people like Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Brandon Marshall, etc. So I'm very confident that he would have been at least a top 20 quarterback if he had of all time if he had played those extra 3, 4, 5 years that I'm very confident he could have played because he was the least injury prone player like at that position at that time. He never missed a game. He was like the Tony Gonzalez of wide receivers. And I feel like if it was anything other than his neck, he definitely would have had a longer career and would have been in the Hall of Fame.
I'm loving
Definitely.
your list so far.
Yeah. I thought my list was a little unique. You got some unique names on there. I like
Yeah,
it.
definitely. In
Yeah.
my number 8, I have Josh Gordon if he wasn't suspended 1,000 times. So Josh Gordon, when he first came to Cleveland, he looked like a generational talent. He looked like the savior of Cleveland. And for Josh, uh, I could put him on this list and say if he had a great quarterback. But even then, Josh Gordon, he went size, his speed, like unfathomable. He was outplaying Calvin points. His and then that's when it came to an halt. It was P or Josh Gordon just 10 years with the Patriots. He had tenure with the Seattle Seahawks, and his most recent one was with the Kansas City Chiefs. Those runs a due to or marijuana. He's football such a generational talent to this day. Like Dak said, he's probably nothing but just could have been so great. But addiction is like a terrible thing, and it's easy as it, he can just stop. It's just not that simple. I feel like which I think he's gotten, because I haven't heard anything about Josh Gordon as of late. I feel like he's gotten the right help, and hopefully that leads to him getting a spot on the team and hopefully showing flashes of being that guy.
Yeah, I agree with every point you made, but half of me feels like the NFL dropped the ball on this one, but also like you gotta like Josh Gordon, like he knew the rules and everything. But in all seriousness, marijuana is not that harsh of a drug. It's not really like performance enhancing. There's been a lot of NFL players and ex NFL players who've spoken out of how the league should embrace the drug, like Pat McAfee being one of them. And he said a lot. Like I listen to the Pat McAfee show a lot, and he always tells stories about how all the players, like even on planes or like in the off season or stuff like that, would use marijuana type drugs for like rehabbing and stuff like that. And he's saying how he uses it a lot after his career, and it helps him a lot with the injuries and all the dinks that football has put on his body. So I feel like NFL should really get away with that one, or at least not be as harsh about it. I mean, yeah, I just don't think it
They
was.
stopped testing for it.
Well, that's a good thing. If they definitely, it was too harsh for the crime committed. The punishment was too harsh,
And I
in
know
my
Gronk
opinion.
is an advocate as well. That was
Yeah.
one of his main things after he retired. That was one of his he wanted to get through in the NFL. But I believe the CBA has changed, and I believe MLB stopped testing. I know the NBA doesn't anymore, and doesn't test for it anymore.
Yeah. That's great.
There goes.
Did Dak did he got kicked?
I believe so, but
I know.
I'll cut.
Yeah.
I'll cut these out. They aren't too long.
Yeah. Have you tried using Zoom?
Yeah, Zoom. We've used it, but it was just a lot of
It's
money
not
to
as
do.
Okay,
good.
we good.
It was just a lot of
Yeah.
money to do.
All right.
And this was kind of Riverside was for the
Wait, you had to pay for Zoom?
to get you got to pay for it.
Yeah, because without payment, it's 40
Oh.
minutes, and the episodes go way longer than 40.
Yeah.
And we knew
And what
that
about
that
Riverside? What about
Riverside
Riverside?
is
How is that?
probably about 10 minutes. I mean, and you get
Oh, unlimited.
hours.
How much was the Zoom?
Zoom was like $15.99.
Uh, that's not that bad, I guess.
For my
But
number 8, I have David Johnson. If the play calling never changed in Arizona, we all know who David Johnson is. What year was that? Was that like 2016, 2017 when dude just went on a storm?
Yeah, it was one of
Yeah, like dude was just like he was clearly the best back in the league at the time. From his Madden rating to his IRL games, dude was just a monster. David Johnson was probably the best pound for pound back at that time. But the play calling changed when the coaching staff changed. Honestly forgot who the head coach was. I don't. I like for some reason I want to say Bruce Arians. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think
And where
I think that was yeah, Arizona.
it might have been Arians at the time.
He was the coach for a while,
Yeah, I think it might have been Arians. I think
but
back again.
oh shit. Okay, well I was gonna say it with Zoom, was it anything like this? Like, did it used to cut out a lot like this and stuff? Or was it
But the
the
benefit
main
of this
problem with
is like,
Zoom was just the price?
yeah, the main price. I get like so much production.
Uh,
Like I can cut, like this stuff I'm gonna cut out. I couldn't cut out in Zoom because it just gives you a straight recording. But with this, you can
Mhm.
record.
oh, so you edit through this app?
Yeah, give you a choice to edit through this. I can edit like directly after we finish. I cut these parts.
Okay.
In
Back to what I was.
of this is the when I press record, it's like we're live
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah.
recording this.
Uh,
So that's another benefit of it.
okay.
This part.
Oh yeah, but back to what I was saying about the coaching staff change in Arizona. I want to say Bruce Arians was the coach around that time when David Johnson was on his reign. Um, Currently, David Johnson plays for the Houston Texans. I believe he's like the third, maybe second running back on that depth chart. Um, I honestly want to see him get back to where he was once before. I doubt it'll happen, but like I was saying before, we all know who David Johnson was, and
Yeah,
if the play calling never changed, I definitely feel like he'll be one of the best running backs in the league today, if not
yeah,
all time.
The
and
thing about running backs though, it's hard for me to like. It's hard to project running backs in general. That's why I have Bo Jackson at 10,
Yeah,
as they're very injury prone. They have a short
career
uh
span.
yeah,
yeah,
their career span is very short, and it's he
Hmm.
like CMC. He's like one of like if healthy, I'm confident he's a top three back in the NFL. But like he just gets nicked so much, and he can never see the field. And
Exactly.
I've never, I don't think any running back has been like the top guy for more than 5 years. I wouldn't say like
yeah.
the number one.
True.
I
And
definitely agree because running backs take so much wear and tear that it's like their careers are so short.
yeah,
Especially
the most
when
recent.
you're the top guy and you're getting so many touches. Like Derrick Henry, the same thing. He was getting so many touches a game. Like it was insane when the whole offense relies on you solely.
Yeah, the most recent yesterday when 27 due to a neck
Yeah.
he ran so everybody should know who Chris Carson is. One of the more underrated backs in the league, but he ran every play and
Hmm.
career had to come to an end. 7 years old. He had a fun of what he like the procedure he had done to it. It looks like terrible.
But yeah, the neck is one of the most vulnerable spots for any NFL player.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
That's what he had.
yeah, I hate that for him honestly because I like Chris Carson. He was a hard runner.
Well, now
So
I see why the Seahawks definitely addressed that in their draft. So
yeah, because they
I
probably
feel
made
like they'll be good in that department.
Yeah, the future's bright for Kenneth Murray. No, oh my goodness, what's his name? Um,
Walker.
Kenneth Walker. Yeah, Walker. The future's bright for Kenneth Walker. I like Kenny.
Yeah.
Where we at?
Okay. Where are we going? 7?
Yeah,
Seven.
I think it's 7 now.
Let me see my 7. Okay, my number 7 is, and this one probably could have been higher, but like again, like in the middle of my list, it kind of got messy. So my number 7 is Gronk if he only stayed on the field,
Mm.
because
Mm.
Gronk is undeniably, in my opinion, he's undeniably the best tight end in NFL history. But I feel like if he had a career like Tony Gonzalez, where Tony Gonzalez like missed no games, if he played that much, he would have been like, it's just crazy to think how more great he could have been. Like with all Gronk has had over 21 different injuries during his NFL career, and he had, I think, 10 like double digit amount of surgeries on his back and on his legs and everything. Um, it definitely took a toll on him. He holds most of the tight end records in the playoffs. Um, and you can just, the eye test for Gronk is insane. If you look at any of his clips from the time where he just took over the league, you would undeniably say that he was the best tight end during that time. Guys, he was just running over guys and like carrying guys on his back. And the thing about Gronk that I hold him higher than people like Kelsey and Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp, Gronk could block like none other. Like Gronk was actually an excellent blocker. And I think that's very important with the tight end position. That's why I would advocate for George Kittle more than somebody like Kyle Pitts, because I feel like blocking for the tight end position is like very core to the roots of the original purpose for the position.
Exactly. Basically, what you were just saying, I'm gonna add on to that. At tight end, you have to be able to block like a left tackle and be able to catch like a receiver.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah,
sum up of a tight end. You have to be able to do both. That's what my coach was saying the other day in practice. So, I mean,
E-
it's common knowledge.
Exactly. The run game can go. And the other thing is, a lot of the Patriots were never like this pass first, like always like airing it down the field or like just exploding with all these passes. He played in a lot of run based offenses and he still put up a lot of numbers. He contributed to the run with his blocking. He's actually a smart tight end. Like you can see by the way him and Brady's connection is. He showed up in big moments, big plays. He's just that guy. He's him.
I definitely agree. Definitely agree. It's crazy to think that Gronk could have been even better.
He missed almost, like, if you count up all the games he missed over 2.5 seasons of his career.
That's
That's
a lot.
So
that's kind of crazy.
that's
Imagine
extremely
if he
crazy.
played those games, man.
And he has more. Oh, I forgot to bring up. He has, I'm pretty sure, receptions per game, yards per game, and touchdown per game than Tony Gonzalez. And a lot of people like to put Tony G over Gronk. Well, I can never.
I like your reasoning behind not putting Tony G over Gronk.
Tony G's
As well.
never. Have you seen his playoff? Like, playoffs matters. I don't care. I know I put Tony G high because he hasn't have great quarterbacks, but there's been times where his teams has held like the number one seed or a high seeding, and they just completely crap the bed. And he's won nothing besides, like, he just holds a lot of stats, but when you go to a game by game basis, like per game, who would show up more, in my opinion, is Gronk. And Gronk was a much better blocker than Tony G.
Yeah,
So that's my personal that's my personal opinion. I understand this. It's definitely debatable, but my thing is, if there, holy shit, that's fine. My thing is, if uh if he had played those games, it wouldn't be a debate at all.
Agree.
So,
Because missing seasons is like crazy.
crazy.
30, maybe even 40
Over
games.
32 games.
Um, actually have another Patriots tight end, Aaron Hernandez,
Oh my! I'm so
never
glad you said that.
prison. Aaron Hernandez, like, like, you know, really great, and having Tom Brady as his quarterback really excelled him. And Aaron Hernandez had every quality you would want in a tight end. He was big, speed on him. He was athletic. He could go up and get it as a tight end, and he could block pretty decently. And unfortunately, Tony Gonzalez was convicted of murder.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yep. And then the day he got arrested, the internet went insane. The pic, everybody knows the iconic picture of him with his hands in his arms and handcuffs on, being carried to the police car. And unfortunately, Hernandez in 2017, I believe.
Yeah. Are you done?
Yeah.
All right, Mara. I'm so glad you said that. I was actually thinking about putting Aaron Hernandez as my honorable mention, like as a plus player. I just didn't because I know that topic can be sensitive. But I always say, if those of you who don't know, I'm an extreme Pats fan. I've been a Pats fan for close to a decade now. But Aaron Hernandez, I truly believe he would have been a top 10 tight end if we had the best tight end. Like the Patriots revolutionized the two tight end method with the Boston Tea Party with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. They were both some dogs. They like Aaron Hernandez. I followed him through like his college careers and his high school career. Like I feel like he's a very interesting player on and off the field. I just think it's a tragedy of what he did and what happened to him. Um, he ended up committing suicide in prison for reasons unknown, but there's a lot of speculation about it. But I won't go too much into that. But yeah, I just really wanted this. I really wish I could have seen how his career played out. Definitely.
Yeah. That's more of a talent than a missed, than a wasted talent.
I always think about that like at least once every year. Like how crazy we would have been with both of them. It's crazy because their rookie years, his and Gronk's numbers are very comparable. Like
They
when you
yeah.
Like when you and when you just watch them how they played together, how they were both in that offense and used, they were both very great players at early on. So imagine he got to spend all that time with Brady and he got to learn alongside Brady and Bill Belichick and he got all that mentoring. It would have been a completely different story.
Um, Hernandez was part of that crazy Florida team.
Yeah, exactly.
In another episode, that's a whole nother thing in
Tim Tebow, yeah.
that Florida team.
Wow. It was
Just
wow.
just so many different
That's
characters
crazy.
on it.
Tim Tebow, his the leader of that team was like the ultimate Christian, and then
Yeah.
they had Aaron Hernandez on that team. That's kind of ironic. But
Uh,
I suggest the viewers, if you don't know too much about Aaron Hernandez, there's like so many videos and documentaries about him.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
feel
a
like it's very
documentary.
interesting. It's very interesting to like watch them. You'll get a different perspective on him as a player and a human.
So
right. My number 7 is Patrick Willis if he never retired. Um, we all know Patrick Willis, of course. Everyone thought he was the next Ray Lewis, and he was proving it up until he retired. I mean, I really didn't go into too much detail about why he retired so early, I just he kind of name myself off the top of my head because I love. But like, man, watching Patrick Willis play was like watching Ray Lewis reincarnated. Almost. Like the hit power, the way he just read the field, the way he can just audible defense. Like it was nice to see a nice linebacker like that. He was definitely a generational talent at that position. And I feel like he would have kept playing till this day. He probably would be one of the best linebackers in the game. That's not a position that anybody can be good at, in my opinion. That's one of the tough positions. I really have not too much to add on to Patrick Willis, but if y'all want to add on, feel free to.
Uh, I agree with everything you said. My next, I feel like I can go into my next pick because it's kind of similar in a way. Um, my next number for number 6, mine was actually Luke Kuechly if he never retired, and I feel like there's a bunch of similarities. Luke Kuechly he was one of two of my first started getting a football. You'll find my other player next up, but Luke Kuechly, I actually lived in Charlotte during his time in Carolina and during when Carolina was in its great days, and every time I was a big Luke Kuechly fan. He was very smart. He was very strong. He hit hard. He was just an all around great player. Um, he definitely has Hall of Fame potentials. He, well, let me read this correctly. Give me a second. So he had 5 first team All Pros, 2 second team All Pros, 7 Pro Bowls in 8 seasons. So in his rookie year, he had a Pro Bowl all of every year he played in an All Pro selection. He also won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He was second in MVP voting once. He was just that guy to me, and he's the main reason why him and the next player I mentioned is the main reason why I really got into football and mainly on the defensive side. Like I, I'm mostly in touch with the defensive side. That's why Bill Belichick's like my favorite coach, and I hold more of him on a higher pedestal than like when the dynasty comes into question. But that's beside the point. Luke Kuechly was really a great player, and he retired young. He still could have played 4 or 5 more years. He would have been in conversations with Aaron Donald and like people. Not Jamal. What? Who just went to the who just left the Seahawks? The linebacker. I'm forgetting. Bobby Wagner.
Bobby
He would have
Wagner.
been
Bobby
in
Wagner.
talks with
Yeah.
Bobby Wagner, Aaron Donald, people like that. Definitely top 5 all time if he would have played a full career.
Almost definitely. I
Oh
agree.
yeah,
Because like I was saying
100,
previously,
1000% agree.
linebacker is not a position that anybody can just play. You have to be mentally smart. Football is a 90% mental game, and the rest is physical. So for him to achieve so much in his short time playing, dude is definitely Hall of Fame bound.
Yeah.
Definitely.
At my number 6, funny enough, I have another that 2015 team, Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. So in 2015, the Panthers were the best team in football, maybe one of the regular season teams ever. They went 15-1. Their one loss to the Atlanta Falcons later, and they went on here. They were monsters. They had one of the best teams in football. But then they ran into the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. And funny enough, Von Miller runs up behind Cam Newton, smacks the ball. Cam Newton goes and runs up to the ball and steps back. Denver recovers the football. Would go on to be 24-10. Carolina Panthers would not score another touchdown. Cam Newton has a terrible game, and the thought is, what would happen if Carolina retained possession? Would they have scored again? Nobody knows. That's why this is such a great what if to me.
That
I like that.
that's a great what if, in my opinion, because if you look at it, that would definitely change the course of the game. Carolina would have maybe had another touchdown on the board. Denver would have lost one. It would have changed the whole momentum because after that, the whole momentum switched.
Oh yeah,
Peyton Manning didn't even that was a defensively controlled game. Peyton Manning wasn't really a deciding factor in my opinion. He was just there. Um, I love Cam Newton. I feel like he's had a pretty decent career, but he's been entirely disrespected by not only just basic NFL fans, but Carolina fans in general. Like I said, I lived in Charlotte during that time. And when I tell you that team, like it's very amazing to watch how a team can totally change a city. Like every day, like it felt like every day was like a happy day in Carolina. Like alongside of all of our freaking our trash cans were like keep pounding and like I was a Patriot fan at the time, so I didn't really care that much. But I see how everybody like they talked about it all over school, like on the announcements, like Cam Newton visiting like schools and like donations and all this other stuff. It was definitely a great time, like especially for like young black kids who need somebody to look up to. He was definitely that guy. And I don't want anybody to forget Cam Newton was going to be the face of the league. He was going to be I felt like if he continued on the path that they were in that season, he would definitely be a top 10 quarterback of all time. Um I could say that very confidently. I feel like if he continued that, he would have had at least another MVP. He would have got his ring. But I do want to point out, you guys on your other podcast about the Cam Newton 2015 situation, he didn't have Kelvin Benjamin that season. He barely
I yeah
had he
yeah
barely had any he was that team. He had Greg Olson.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
I forgot about Greg.
I I didn't realize until like that he really him and Greg, which makes that like
and even when
even
you think about it, when you look at the wide receivers at that time, if he had somebody like AB or Julio or like anybody like Larry Fitzgerald, anybody, I feel like it would have drastically helped him. I
yeah.
don't think Carolina set him up in the best way at all. He's, I feel like he started his career pretty decent. He just took too many hits, but that was his playing style. He was Superman, and he was Superman to the league. So it just took a toll on him sooner or later.
Um, mm,
Definitely.
yeah, I definitely agree with everything you just said. We're at six, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
six.
My six is Marshawn Lynch if Seattle ran the ball in the Super Bowl 40. We all know what happened. It was probably one of the dumbest play calls of all time. I know Deuce, as a Seattle fan, he hates this topic very, very much, and I hate it too because like I said, I love my running backs, and we all know Marshawn Lynch, and like dude was just probably like around that time, he was arguably one of the best pound for pound runners as well. He was named Beast Mode for a reason. That close to the goal line, why are you not running the ball with beast mode? It was questionable. It was really questionable. And they gave Malcolm Butler a name. Um,
Um,
Okay.
I remember this night very vividly. Well, at house, and before to the party, I that I want my I wanted my face painted navy blue and neon because that Seahawks were going to be back to back. So I confidently painted my face navy blue and neon blue, green, and sat there and watched the whole game. Now,
Yeah.
um,
Bro, I can't. I have so much to add. Like this, he picked a perfect pick. I have so much to add to this.
Jesus. All right. Yeah. Um.
but
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. I know that was a sad moment for you.
and when the interception happened, I was so lost. I was so I went and washed the face paint off my face. Um, and then after that, the kneeled, and then the brawl started, and then Tom Brady was making his way out.
What ring
That night for
number
me,
was that for Tom?
4, I believe.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
and
4, yeah, that's 4.
I went to school. I went to school the next day. I just to be there. I didn't need to. I was just not there.
Okay, I have so much to add to this. First of all, I want to say I love this conversation because, as you know, I'm a diehard Patriots fan, and this is a great story to tell because this is actually how I became a Patriots fan. So, just like Deuce, I was also at like a Super Bowl party. It wasn't nothing major. It was just like friends and whatnot. At that time, I know about the NFL. Like I had Madden I had Madden 11 with Drew Brees on the cover. I'm pretty sure. Like I've I've had NFL, but I wasn't really into it. I didn't have a team. I didn't have none of that. So fast forward, we're at the Super Bowl. We're watching it. When I tell you, literally everybody in that house was cheering against the Patriots.
That's one of us.
Everybody was against the Patriots. So me being me, I was like, okay, well, I'm for the Patriots. And then all I heard like all game was how, oh, they're the cheaters, they deflate the balls and everything like that. But I didn't care. I was still for the Patriots. I was also in fourth grade, I believe, or yeah, I was in fourth grade. Um, so, anyways, I remember that final drive by Russ Wilson and the Seahawks. I remember when the first catch that was made on Malcolm Butler down the sideline when the ball bobbled and it was still alive, and Malcolm Butler noticed that play and pushed him out of bounds. That was great awareness by Malcolm Butler. But I remember that everybody in that house screaming loud. Everybody was telling me that it was over until that interception, and then all I remember is that the whole house quiet, and I'm over here screaming like, "Oh, I told you so! I told you so! I told you so!" But it was just a great moment for me. I feel like it will go down as one of the most iconic plays in NFL history. Definitely, rookie Malcolm Butler showed out that game. Patriots defensive staff definitely showed how smart they were that game to even prepare for that in practice. It was just the one takeaway that I got from that game is that you can never count the Patriots out. Never. Um, but ultimately that did lead to the
Deuce over there
downfall.
going through it.
That led to the downfall of the Seahawks as a whole. I feel like that was the start of the tear in Pete Carroll's and Russ's like relationship. The Legion of Booms fell apart. Everything just was slowly downhill from there. Um, One more thing I want to add is that when I was a kid, probably like when I was a kid playing football, when I lived in Charlotte, I got the nickname Beast Mode because I would always run the ball, and I used to carry like two people on my back running the ball. And I would just say Marshawn Lynch was definitely the best running back at that time, and he's one of my favorite running backs ever on and off the field. He has hilarious interview moments, just
You gotta love
moments out of
Marshawn.
football,
Yeah,
with
it
football. Everything about him is just iconic.
I'm
it's
just here
so
so I won't get
ironic.
fined.
It's so ironic. Is the reason that Patriots fan.
Yeah, it's really yeah. I that was a great time in my life. I really felt satisfied with everything. Cause my biggest thing about me, I love to prove people wrong. So when the whole house was against me, and I was the only one saying, "Oh, I'm for the Patriots," especially when he caught that catch on the sideline and everybody
Yeah.
thought it was over, the
Oh
whole
my.
world. That was like a miracle sent from heaven. And then ever since then, I've been a Patriots fan. So that's over. That's nearing a decade now. It's
Yeah.
past a
It
decade now.
was.
Well, it
It
is a
was.
decade now because that was 2012, right?
It was 8 years ago. It was 2014. 14.
No, 2012, right?
2012 was Broncos Super Bowl with Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh,
2014 was
2013.
yeah
Wait,
2013 season. 2013 season. 2014 Super Bowl.
yeah. And then 14, 15 was Broncos, Panthers. Okay. But yeah, great Super Bowl. Okay, where are we on? 5, right?
Yeah,
Five,
five. I
five,
got a
five.
great one for five.
Okay. So like I said before, was my second. Well, this was really my first favorite player, but him and Luke Kuechly was kind of tied for me. But at number 5, I have J.J. Watt if he stayed on the field, just like Gronk. Uh, J.J. Watt is a tremendous player. He will definitely go down as a Hall of Famer, as an all-time great. I have so many notes on J.J. Watt, but I don't know if I can go. But I'll just say, in his entire career, J.J. Watt has missed 42 games due to injuries.
Damn.
That's over two.
More than
I
Gronk.
know, right? That's over.
Oh dang.
Oh dang.
Oh, you gotta do a lot of editing tonight.
It won't be that bad.
Yeah. I got a great one for the fifth one. I'm gonna
Yeah, I
give
think
you
I
a
got a
hint.
pretty good one.
You and him got the same name.
Running back?
Uh,
McAllister?
he no. He definitely ran the ball as well though.
Hmm. I know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know why it keeps kicking me out. Because every time like I try to switch over to my notes, it kicks me out. So
Yeah, it does that
Oh,
sometimes. Yeah.
I'm just gonna read it from like the side or whatever, or try to. But um, let me go back to my point. So he missed around 2.5 in his entire career. Um, he's had over 10 plus surgeries, just like Gronk. He's had back surgeries. He had groin injuries. He had I'm pretty sure like calf surgeries. Um, JJ Watt is a great player. I confidently he would be in the talks with Aaron Donald and Lawrence Taylor as some of the greatest defensive players who ever played the game. He's won 3 defensive player of the years, if I remember, 2 back to back. Um Second in MVP voting one time. Uh Let me see if I can read it. He he's had if his career was projected to like all the games he missed, he would have broke the sack record of 200 with like 240 something.
Oh,
Um, he's just all around a great player. He was my favorite player coming into football, like starting to watch it more. It was him and Luke Kuechly. I just love the way he played, his toughness. Like he went all out on every play, and yeah, I'm confidently would say he would have been a top 10 all-time player if he was less injury prone.
yeah,
Agreed.
1000%. All good lists so far.
Yeah,
It's been pretty original from pretty much everybody.
Yeah. At number 4, I have Michael if he never went to prison. So Michael Vick
Mm.
uh, was, coming out into the draft was the top guy, undisputed. So Atlanta, literally none to pick at the spot, and Michael Vick lived up to it. He had so many games. He revolutionized the mobile quarterback position. Years went on really good streaks. He would just be like a running back. Like he wasn't a quarterback, but he had the arm. He had a cannon for an arm, which was the crazy thing.
absolutely.
You had you had never seen a guy in football that could do that, run as fast as he could, that could take the hits that he could, and had an arm like that. Nobody had ever seen it, and so he revolutionized this game for guys, Lamar Jackson, for guys like Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and the likes of other great mobile quarterbacks to come. And this was probably the best quarterback of 2005 and 2000. And then dogfighting happened, and Michael Vick went to prison for a while. And he came back. He bounced around a couple teams: the Jets, the Steelers. What other teams did he have 10 years for?
Eagle.
Eagles.
Eagle. But he and still one of the biggest what ifs if he stayed on the field in Atlanta. If he stayed in Atlanta, I believe he would be the greatest Atlanta quarterback of all. I
Most
believe,
definitely.
and I think that would lead
Well,
to Matt Ryan never ending up in a,
Yeah,
which would be crazy as it is, cause a butterfly effect of different things. Julio be a Falcon,
right.
exactly.
Because
just so
Mike
much
isn't
crazy.
old.
Yeah, he's
Mike isn't old. Mike is still he's still doing
go.
these little videos. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if y'all have been seeing these little streams of like this backyard football thing with like AMP,
In
RDC,
phase, yeah.
Phase, all that. Vic still got a little left in him. You can tell he's not even trying.
Vic runs
So
a 4 something still,
exactly. That's crazy.
like in the low 4s still, like a 4.3. He still runs like
That's
a
what I'm
4.
saying. That's crazy. Dude still got some left in the tank.
Not only do I think he revolutionized the mobile quarterback play, but I also think he like he brought light to because he was a lefty. He brought light to lefty quarterbacks. I feel like he was like he was very few at the time. He was like one of very few true playmaker quarterback. He definitely is like the type of quarterback that ran that offense. Like the
Yeah,
offense went through him, and I see similarities from him and Lamar through that aspect that like they can get it done on their own if they want to. They could rip through the whole field. They could throw it out. I mean, he has a better arm than Lamar in my opinion, because like he literally has videos of him throwing out of the stadium, him throwing 60, 70 yards down the field, like he was a amazing athlete and one of the best that we've seen. And I just honestly think if he made better choices, he would definitely be in higher talks and conversations when we talk about the all-time great quarterback.
Agreed. Um, on to my number five. My number fifth is DeAnthony Thomas if he lived up to the hype. We all know who DeAnthony Thomas is. Probably one of the best return specialists. Probably the best Oregon player we've ever watched, in my opinion.
From
DeAnthony
Oregon.
Thomas. Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, shoot, he did it all. Receiving his all-time rushing stats. He rushed for almost 1,900 yards. His average carries was 7.8. Oh damn.
He probably just
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, I am back.
all right.
Um, his average yards per carry were 7.8. His rushing touchdowns, 26. He caught for almost 1,300 receiving yards. He caught 15 touchdowns in his career. Dude, all around. And then we've all watched his highlights.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
like man, it was just crazy. He was out. He was crazy on the field. He's played for three teams in the NFL. He got drafted in 2014 to the Kansas City Chiefs. He played there up until I want to say 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And he really ain't. He really hasn't showed much. Um, he also played for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think he's currently on the Detroit Lions roster, if I'm not mistaken. I honestly like it. It's questions I honestly want to ask the man myself. Like, what went wrong? Was it a mental thing? Like, I don't know.
Wait, what was your what if for him?
Um, what if he lived up to the hype?
Oh yeah.
Might try if he's one.
Yeah, that's something I just want to know. Like, what do y'all think went wrong with him?
Um,
I'm not sure at all.
I don't know because it didn't translate well from college to NFL. The art of returning. You've seen it by McCole Hardman, uh, Hester. Uh,
Yeah,
what's the other guy? Um, was it Hardman? I already said Hardman. But there's another guy. There's one more guy. But I can't think of his name.
you already said Devin Hester, right?
Yeah, but there was another
Um,
Bears guy. But whatever. But we've seen these traits develop and translate well into the NFL. But that didn't seem to be the case with Anthony Melton. So interesting to convey what went wrong.
It can be a lot of things. It could be coaching, situation, off the field. There's a lot of things that could go into play when it comes to affecting a player's production.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go to my fourth player now.
All right.
Fourth on my list. This is the last person I get before I get to my quarterbacks, but it's DeAndre Hopkins. Or shall I wait till he gets back? Oh yeah. Okay. The fourth player on my list is DeAndre Hopkins. If he had a reliable quarterback, DeAndre Hopkins have played with two notable quarterbacks, I'll say, which is obviously Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson. But he's only played with them for a combined 4 years out of his. Um, besides that, he's played with 13 different starting quarterbacks through his career, and a lot of them are no names. A lot of them are backups,
Matt
like
Shaw.
Matt Shaw, Case Keenum, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Mallett, Brian Hoyer, T.J. Yates, Brandon Whedon, Brock Osweiler, Tom Savage, and of course Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, to name a few. Uh, None of his quarterbacks, if I'm not here, let me read this. I'm pretty sure none of his quarterbacks have even made an All Pro. I'm pretty sure. I don't think Deshaun Watson has made a first team All Pro yet, and I know Kyler hasn't, and I know the rest of the nobodies haven't. But the only notable quarterbacks I can like name was them two. Ryan Fitzmagic is kind of notable, but he's been a career journeyman. He's
Yeah.
never really stable. But it's insane to think of the numbers he put up with all the turnover with quarterbacks. He's definitely a top 20 wide receiver today without a question, maybe arguably top 10, top 15. But I feel like he would definitely be in conversations with like Jerry Rice, Megatron, those type of guys. If you look just strictly off of eye test, he's an amazing athlete. Like the Hail Marys he catches, the hands
Oh yeah,
he
no
has,
doubt.
like the speed, everything. He's just an amazing talent. But he hasn't had a fair shot when it comes with to the organizations he's been with, the coaches he's had, and the quarterbacks he's been dealt.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, he's only had Deshaun Watson for 2 years and now Kyler for 2 years. So yeah, that's my take on him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said.
Yeah,
Because when you think D
definitely.
Hop, you think hands. D Hop is definitely
Definitely.
arguably one of the best receivers of our generation.
Yeah. And he didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback like Antonio Brown, or he didn't have an MVP quarterback like Julio Jones, or even like Larry Fitz had like Carson Palmer, and like all way better than what freaking D Hop had. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me mind you, Osweiler and Tom Savage were supposed to. They were like super. Like those two names were notorious for not living up to hype.
I mean, they've been. I think they got to the playoff. I think they got to the playoff with Brock Osweiler and
Yeah,
maybe
Osweiler.
Brian Hoyer, but those guys are like they're
Oh,
nobody.
you
Definitely.
know,
Like Brian Hoyer, I love
best
Brian
gamers.
Hoyer. Brian Hoyer's on. Oh damn, he left. Would you use your a computer?
Yeah, I use this laptop, but I'm
Mm.
because this laptop does the bare minimum. It can do schoolwork pretty good. That's about it. I tried to run RSPS3 on it, a PS3 emulator on it, and it was just not having it.
Yeah, I was probably gonna get because I gotta go to college next year, so I'm definitely gonna have to get like a MacBook or something.
Yeah,
But anyways, like I was saying, Brian Hoyer, I love Brian Hoyer. He's a backup quarterback for my Patriots. He's a good vet guy, I'd say, but he's not a god. He can't be put in a starting position. There's many backups that I would take over him to be like even in his when he was younger, many people I would take over him to start a team. Um, those guys just wasn't good enough.
yeah, definitely not. Um,
Agreed. Agreed.
number four, is that right?
Yeah.
Hold on, this
Yeah.
is mine. Hello. Yeah,
We'll throw up a commercial. It's all good though. We'll be all
Bro, I'm hot as hell. I'm in my car right now. It's so hot.
right. I'm happy for my number four. I like my number fourth one though. It's gonna kind of surprise y'all in a sense. I think it's a good one. It's another linebacker.
Another one.
Uh, You can take a hint. Well, you can take a guess. He's
From
one
the
of the
NFC.
fastest. I'm gonna just give you that hint. He's one of the fastest to ever touch the field at the linebacker spot.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I, I'm gonna just wait till you reveal it. I don't want to say nothing and sound stupid.
Got you.
Okay. So at my number four spot, I have Andrew Luck. If he never retires, Andrew Luck was one of the smartest QBs coming in. He had immense talent. He made a lot of great throws. He had upside, but then he got hit like all the time.
Man, that
And the
line
funny
was
thing,
nothing.
man, the funny that he got hit and he was like the nicest guy ever.
Man, I just
There's
miss
some
him.
clips of him just telling the guy he did it and he hit him good. And one thing to get over is the night Andrew Luck retired, that Lucas Oil booed him out of there. Like the boos were loud. And I
Oh,
will
that's
never
horrible.
understand the
I
disrespect
hate
that Andrew.
ungrateful fans.
Yeah,
I hate.
it was so terrible. Like Andrew, like it was shown. It like you could look at saw that he got every time he was on the field.
I'm saying though.
But he was in the best interest of his family. He was in the best interest of his own health, in which
Hmm.
CTE was just becoming, a big talking point, especially in NFL players' careers. And he wanted to preserve himself for his family. So it's completely understandable why he made the choice that he did.
Exactly. And you know what's crazy? Now, look at the Colts line. They arguably have a top five O line in the league. And I just hate
Man,
that he's not here to see it. Well, he's here to see it, but he's not here to play behind it.
man,
He would
Yeah,
rather have to
so
sustain that many sacks in the season again.
I have stuff to add on Andrew Luck, but like I said again, he's on my list too, so I want to save it for that. So, because
okay,
I have a different point of view than you guys.
Okay, okay. Oh, my number four. I tried to give Zion a hint not long ago. He's one of the fastest linebackers to ever touch the field. He played for the Steelers. Ryan Shazier. If he never suffered that severe neck injury and almost became permanently paralyzed, um, we all know who Ryan Shazier is. He played for Ohio State. Great sideline to sideline linebacker, smart on the field. The stuff he did off the field was also impactful. You just had to love Ryan Shazier as a player. Like, dude could do everything. Like, I remember Madden 16. I forgot what Madden it was, but Ryan Shazier was the best user lurker in the game at the time, and like you can like man, just go back and watch his highlights. Dude was amazing to watch, and that injury it definitely affected a lot of players, a lot of people that just loved the game. Um, Honestly, a lot of people thought he was never going to be able to walk again because of that injury he sustained trying to make that hit. Um, Currently today, I think he has a book out. He's back walking. I think he works out again. He does a lot of stuff for his community. He's a great person off the field. I definitely want to see him with that Steelers coaching staff in the long run. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get into my. Where are we on? Third. I'm gonna get into my third player, and this is where I have Andrew Luck. You guys both said Andrew Luck if he didn't retire early, but my viewpoint on it is Andrew Luck would be a top 10 player in the NFL if he was in a better situation. And I just put it this way because I feel like retiring early wasn't it wasn't entirely a choice. I feel like in part he was forced to retire early because of the injuries he sustained uh, behind that awful line. But the Colts at that time, he definitely carried the Colts, and he took on all the wear and tear from it. The Colts during that time failed horrendously to surround him with any type of talent. I mean, he had T.Y. Hilton, but like anything else, they were just garbage in the draft and free agency with trades, everything. It just was a lot of misses. Um, his line was awful. He took so many hits. He had injuries after injuries. I think it was an ankle injury that ultimately, when he decided that he couldn't play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Andrew Luck he played 6 seasons, if I believe. 4 of those seasons making the playoffs, the Pro Bowls, going 11-5. The 2 seasons where he kind of had a down off year, he was 8-8. All time winning record. Um, like you said, he was great on and off the field. He was a good teammate. Just the perfect, literally the perfect franchise quarterback falling into your arms, and they just messed up the situation completely. They mishandled him in every aspect, I believe. Um, it was just I feel like that team was set up for him to not survive long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of
many people
oh yeah.
about that 2000. The Colts could have got Russell Wilson at number one, but the really that would have made would have had maybe a few. Still would have had a lot of sacks taken. A big,
Yeah. You see the Colts till this day, they still struggle with QBs. They haven't had really a solidified QB since Andrew Luck. They can do everything. I mean, you can say that they had Phillip Rivers for 1 year, but I
No.
mean,
and who knows how
Phillip
long they'll have
Rivers,
Matt Ryan.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Colts just always struggle with QBs. I wonder when they're actually going to draft a QB.
Yeah,
Andrew Luck was sacked 174 times in 6 seasons.
Goodness gracious.
That's entirely too much. They the same thing, like you could kind of see the same thing happening to Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, but they immediately addressed that situation.
yeah,
They got him more. Not only does he have more weapons to throw to and a good running back, like Andrew Luck had nothing but T.Y. Hilton. Like real, like I couldn't see any QB. Like even if Russ was in that position, I feel like that would have ultimately messed up Russ's development. I feel like Russ got in a pretty good situation where he had good coaching, a good defense, everything. He had time to he got to develop well. Andrew
yeah,
Luck was kind of thrown in the fire. He was thrown to either sink or swim. And at first he swam for a good bit, but then he just got tired of it all and he drowned at the very end.
yeah.
Agreed.
Complete. Nice to see that Andrew Luck was on all three of our lists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite QB besides Peyton Manning.
Uh, number out on this, Sean Taylor, if he never passes away. Sean Taylor, undoubtedly the best safety, and that's probably a bit close with Brian Taylor has, and even then, Sean Taylor had potential to be even better. Sean Taylor hit like no other. Everybody knows about the video of him hitting the punt Pro Bowl. Everybody knows how much of a ball hawk Sean Taylor was, because nowadays you get one or the other. One who hits hard but can't hands, or one that has hands that can't hit. Combination of both, and Sean Taylor had the grit. Sean Taylor was feared in the NFL, and he will go down as even now. Happen, he will still go down as a top safety of all time, and the best if the unfortunate tragedy did not happen.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say like him, Ed Reed, like Troy Polamalu. There's a lot of great safeties at the time. He's definitely up there. I'd put him right there, like Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Those guys.
Just in his little time of playing, he proved so much of himself.
Definitely generational
He made it.
talent. Definition of
Yeah,
generational talent.
exactly. Yeah, it's all good though. We'll be back.
Wait, could you guys hear me just then?
Yeah, we heard what you said about.
Okay, because the thing said like I had audio, like I don't know,
Oh no, we
but
heard you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, my third player is Greg Robinson. If he doesn't get arrested several times, a lot of people don't really know who Greg Robinson is. He was the number 2 pick to the Rams back in the 2013 draft. The same draft as Aaron Donald. Um, like that says a lot for itself. You get took in number 2 and you throw it away. I don't really know much about Greg Robinson myself until I made this list. I didn't really do much research on why he got arrested, but he got arrested numerous times. He's one of those players that just couldn't stay out of the streets. While also, my thing is, you live in a dream, man. Why can't you just leave that stuff alone? Like he possibly could have been probably one of the best this day. You see, Aaron Donald, he turned out to be pretty good, pretty damn good at that.
No,
So
he's kind of good. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So let alone what the number 2 pick in that draft class could have done.
I'll just say I completely agree on the whole standpoint of I don't understand why a lot of NFL players, um,
Professional athletes in general, really.
professional athletes in general just find trouble. I know with the all the money and fame and attention they have, they probably have more access to it than ever before. But who said? I think Teddy Bridgewater said this quite recently. He put out that you don't have to you work all your life to get you and your family out of the hood or out of the bad situation that you're in. Why do you want to portray the image that you have to still be this tough guy, that you have to like Damon Arnett posting with guns, like threatening to kill somebody? He ruined his whole NFL career. Like Deshaun Watson with the freaking massages, like what the Calvin Ridley with the sports betting, even though that wasn't a major thing, that's still like, why do you guys put yourself in the situations to do horrible? And I think a lot of it is like who's around them to like mentor them. They might not have the best people surrounding them, but I just feel like it should be it should be something, there should be more help for players learning how to manage their money, how to stay out of trouble. Like there's so many, like even Alvin Kamara, wasn't he arrested for like spitting with somebody or something like that?
Yeah,
It
Like
was a
did you see
bit
the
more
dude?
than spitting.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like him and his guys beat like this guy. face was completely like
Yeah, his face
swelled.
was
You could
done.
probably barely recognize how he actually looks.
Yeah, it's just crazy though to me, and it's I feel like a lot of times it's people from my race on the bad end of the stick, and then we get a bad rep for it. I feel like I just think athletes in general need to do better. Like people like LeBron James had a flawless career. He had no cheating scandals, no sexual allegations, no violence, like nothing. Like people, I feel like you're handed this one in a lifetime opportunity. You need to make the most of it and create generational wealth for your family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
People take it for granted. I feel like
Like
there's a
that's
lot of people who want to be in their shoes.
100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on to my second player, my second on the list, and this one could be debatable, but my number two all-time player, if something changed their career, was if Aaron Rodgers, if he had him a Bill Belichick. My reasoning for this is we all know Aaron Rodgers is this great quarterback, but most of his, I'll say, criticism comes from his lack of production in the postseason. But I honestly feel like he's to blame maybe only 15% of the time. I'm gonna go through the stats and stuff that I have now, but I first want to point out that Bill Belichick is the greatest head coach of all time and the greatest defensive mind of all time. Um, in 21 playoff appearances, Aaron Rodgers had a passer rating over 90, 17 of those games. So only 3 games has he really, well, only 4 games has he really maybe played bad in. I would also like to add, in his whole career, Aaron Rodgers has only had 2 top 10 defenses. Um, the Green Bay average of 25.7 opponent points per game in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers throughout his whole career. Since 2000, Bill Belichick led defenses hasn't exceeded 22 points opposing points per game, and they average 18.7. So that's a big drop off from 25.7 to 18.7 for Bill Belichick led defenses. And I feel like not only does the defense come into play, Bill Belichick helped a lot with getting teams in order. He's a leader of teams. I feel like he helped Tom Brady a lot with understanding defenses and everything surrounding that. I'd also like to point out that Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick would have had more rings, more accolades like MVPs and better stats, and overall a better win-loss percentage because a guy like that will improve him. Aaron Rodgers already has an amazing career with 4 MVPs and probably the best touchdown interception ratio of all of the major quarterbacks, and he already has his Super Bowl ring. But Bill Belichick would have made him probably the greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
and
like everything you just said.
yeah, that really probably was my favorite. Uh, what if to hear because it went so to the concept of what if. Probably a truly great what if.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
second one,
and if
oh yeah,
here, wait, let me say this one last thing. If you look
yeah,
at it for real, I feel like Aaron Rodgers could, if that what if was true, Aaron Rodgers has gained 4 MVPs with Mike McCarthy and LaFleur. I undeniably think Bill Belichick is better than both of them. And with the help of the defense, because a defense plays a big role in helping a quarterback with field positions and turnovers and everything of that sort, he definitely would have had. I would give him a good shot of surpassing Peyton Manning with 5 MVPs, and I would have added at least 2 more Super Bowls to him. So, and I think that would take Tom Brady out of the conversation, because I don't think Tom Brady wins 7 rings without Bill Belichick. I'll say the most he wins is 3 without Bill Belichick. Hot take, but
No, I agree with that.
I
With that
definitely
take.
agree.
Bill Belichick's defensive mind definitely played a role in Tom Brady's Super Bowl win.
and I know people are going to be mad about this, but if you look at all the Super Bowls, you can say Tom Brady did not stop the greatest show on turf. Tom Brady did not in the Rams Super Bowl, he did not hold the number one offense to only 3 points. The Seahawks Super Bowl, he did not set up the defensive plan that got that game-winning interception. And even he held the Seahawks was a great offense that year, and they only held them to, what was the score, 21 to
It was
24?
24-28.
Oh, 24-28. Okay, that's still a good. I'll say, if I'll give them this. Same with the first Eli Super Bowl. You only put up 14 points, but Bill Belichick gets blamed for that Super Bowl. But you should be able to put up more than 14 points in a Super Bowl. If your defense holds the opponent under 21 points, my thinking is that any quarterback, is their job to get more than 3 touchdowns, especially in a high situation game like the Super Bowl. The only Super Bowl wins that I will give to Brady, or think that Brady won us, is one, the Falcons Super Bowl. You can maybe argue the first Eagles Super Bowl, I think, or no, the Panthers Super Bowl, and then the last Eagles Super Bowl that we lost. That Brady did play out in that one, and that one's on Bill Belichick. But overall, Bill Belichick is to be accredited for a lot of the things that happened in Brady's career, from a GM and a head coach standpoint, because I feel like he's also underrated as a GM. He has he drafted, not only drafted, but he signed a lot of great players, a lot of Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers. Like, the draft is not the only job of the GM. Being able to keep the greatest quarterback of all time on your roster for 20 years and paying him nothing, that in itself should be like Hall of Fame worthy. So,
Yeah,
okay, my bad.
it's
You
got to
go on
be
your
in the
second
Hall of
now.
Fame. Oh no, you're good. Number 2, Johnson, if he ever got to play for a contender. Calvin Johnson was the most dominant wide receiver of the 2010s. His career started off with some no-name quarterbacks, but then even before Matthew Stafford came in, Calvin Johnson showed how much he went on tears. He had the first ever 2,000-yard season. Calvin Johnson was a monster. Now, uh, Calvin Johnson went to the playoffs, nothing but
Yeah,
just
yeah, I
once.
think just one.
Just once. Yeah. And that was a wild card loss. And it was was so unwilling, that Calvin was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna, pack my bags and leave. I'll retire. In which he did. At 30, I believe. Very early into his career. He still could maybe 10 years.
Agreed.
Man, but it's like still in the top 10 greatest wide receivers of all time. And he did not play for as it was. And it's just crazy to me how dominant this guy was. And he never won a playoff game. He was on never won a playoff game.
Exactly.
They still haven't took.
Man, which is sad. But Calvin was definitely a generational talent. He got the name Megatron for a reason.
Yeah.
That's your nickname. You're a damn good player. The way he hit, like I think he ran like 4.3, and he stands at the height of 6'5".
Yep.
He's six
Okay,
five.
here, wait, my bad.
He ran a
My phone, like, what happened?
We were just talking about Calvin Johnson.
Oh, my phone like shut off because I guess it got too hot. But
oh
I'm outside right now. Can you? Is the like outside getting like? Can you hear all that or no?
No, Riverside usually cancels out everything in the
yeah.
background.
Riverside cancels out noise.
All right, but
Uh,
yeah, that's what I was saying about Calvin. Definitely a generational talent. He got the name Megatron for a reason. Dude ran a 4.3. Had hands like no other. He could jump high. Probably one of the best red zone threat receivers we've ever seen. One of the best deep threats. He could just do it all. Dude was great.
Yeah, wish we
Um,
would.
right. And that leads me to my number two. My number two is Todd Gurley. If he never had bad, we all know who Todd G is. Todd, I think when did Todd get drafted? Guys, help me out with this one.
2011, I want to say.
I think it might have been
2010s.
later than.
Well, 2012.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think it
think
was.
so.
I think it was like season before Aaron. But yeah, Todd definitely a great runner. He was one of the more so taller backs that we've got to witness of our generation. I think he stood about 6'1". Dude could move. He was a great one cut back. He had great change of direction. He will hurdle you instantly. Like I love watching Todd play. But his knees got the best of him. I believe um, he got cut shortly before the 2020 season, suffering a knee injury in 2018 and came out in the whole 2019 season. Through his career, he has been in the Super Bowl. That's probably one of the worst Super Bowls of all time, but we're not going to talk about that. Dude had a pretty decent career for the time being. He also played for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, it's kind of see how his career turned out. I'll say. I think he owns like a fan controlled football team. I think now, but
Yeah, he does.
yeah. So at least he's still in the football space. But yeah, it's been he he was the top back for a while in the league, and he definitely. I think the situation in the with the Rams just. I feel like it would have been perfect if he would have, if the Rams. Well, me as a Patriots fan, if I'm speaking non-biasedly, but if the Rams would have won the Super Bowl, I feel like he would have had a better ending to his career. But yeah, it's just unfortunate how it all played out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to our number one ranking. My number one ranking is Peyton Manning if Tom Brady never existed.
Oh,
So I have a lot of thoughts behind this and reasonings, but I'll just say Peyton Manning is already known by some people as the greatest to ever do it. I completely disagree because of one man, and that's Tom Brady. Well, maybe because of two men, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but I'm using Tom Brady for this example. I want to state the obvious. If Tom Brady never existed, I don't think there would be anybody close. to Peyton Manning. Not only that, Peyton Manning is. Let me see the stat. I know he's. Give me one sec. He's 6-11 head to head against Brady. That's almost double. Brady and Belichick almost double Peyton Manning and wins head to head. Peyton lost to the Patriots 2 times in the playoffs, which could have held him back from 2 more Super Bowls potentially, or even if he had 2 more Super Bowls, that would have been crazy. But that could have held him off from a lot of stuff. Uh, when the Colts was still in the AFC East, the Patriots swept them. That and that was the only time that the Peyton Manning uh, didn't make the playoffs. So that could have contribute. That would greatly contribute to his legacy. Um, there's just a lot I think, but the main factor is Tom Brady won MVPs that maybe if Tom Brady wasn't there, Peyton could have won them. There's just a lot that if Tom Brady wasn't the player, it leaves a lot of spaces for another great quarterback to get those accolades, those wins, those Super Bowls. And the first one that comes to mind is automatically Peyton Manning because with him and Tom Brady, they, in my opinion, were leaps above everybody else at the time, like Ben Roethlisberger and even young Aaron Rodgers. So
I like that one, even though I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. I got nothing. I just gotta agree with what you said.
but he definitely would be. I'm not arguing that. I don't care about the GOAT discussion because that, in my opinion, is very opinionated and however you see the thing. But it's undeniably, if Tom Brady never existed, Peyton Manning would be a better player, just flat out.
Yeah, he would have retired with.
And also, there would be nobody that would be like, if Tom Brady never existed, there would be nobody to even like think to like judge Peyton Manning against. There's
Oh yeah,
nobody else,
there would be nobody around.
in my opinion, that there wouldn't be nobody that'd be like a second thought. There wouldn't be a LeBron to Jordan, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely know where you're coming around. Nobody to debate the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, there it would be no debate. It would be the overall consensus.
Yeah, I believe.
I like that
So
one though.
my number one greatest what if in NFL history is Antonio. He never went insane. Antonio Brown
I like that one
still
too.
widely regarded as a wide receiver, was on pace to be the greatest of all time, undisputably, over Jerry Rice, over Randy Moss, over Cal
Yeah,
Johnson, over every.
yeah,
He had the athleticism, hands, he had the speed, he had every except reality.
Yeah,
Wherever it started, wherever the downfall of the Killer Bees started, in it just all happened. And Brown was on his way out the door. Le'Veon Bell was on his way out the door. Big Ben and the defense was twiddling its last bit of relevancy at the time. And Antonio Brown was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio Brown, why Le'Veon Bell was so great because of the threat that he posed to NFL defenses. Antonio Brown was so great, and he can outside of Pittsburgh. He showed flashes of that greatness in that one Patriots. He showed all of that greatness with the Buccaneers. That Super Bowl run had a touchdown. Amazing postseason he had on the Buccaneers Super Bowl run, and definitely without just undisputed on his way to being all time. And whatever happened, whether it was the CT, it was just him bored, whether it was just a mental health issue, whether it was something, some unknown reason that we will never know. Antonio Brown, way with the singer, whatever happened, it was dead mental.
I completely agree with that. I feel like
Same.
the fame got to Antonio Brown heavily because when he first was drafted, when he was still young, he was actually pretty humble. He wasn't like it was when he became this mega star. I could equate it to like I'm using this as an example. If there was like a super smart kid that's in a class, but he wants to be popular so bad, so he's the class clown and he fails on purpose and stuff like that, and he puts himself in bad predicaments, that's exactly what happened to Antonio Brown. He was, I would say, I would argue that he is the top five receiver of all time.
Most
Like
definitely.
he's the epitome of a diva receiver. He's had in so many, not even, but the thing about him, it's not even on the field, it's off the field also. He's had arrests, he had like it's just a long list of everything. And to put into account what the stuff he's done on the field, like even when he leaked Mike Tomlin's speech in the locker room, when he undressed for the Bucks, when he like and you said at the time when he was leaving out of Pittsburgh that he was like already starting like I feel like he still had a lot left. I still feel like he was a top receiver in the league. That's why the Raiders paid him like 30 millions a
Yeah,
year, but he just completely just messed that whole situation up. It got to a point where his main focus was just the fame. I feel like
Hmm.
if he had like I would say like Larry Fitzgerald is like one of the most like he doesn't create any waves. Any all he does is go out there and play and put up numbers. If Antonio Brown was like this was like that, it would be without a doubt the greatest of all time. But he definitely got everything like got to his head. He's a rapper now. Uh, I, it's so funny, but also sad at the same time. I'm not sure if he's suffering mentally, but yeah, that's all I have to say on that situation. It just isn't a good look for him at all. He ruined his whole. He threw it away.
Yeah. That leads to my number one. My number one player is RG3 if he never sustains the knee sprain injury. Like I said numerous times, we all know who these players are. We really know who RG3 is. I'll probably say he has probably one of the best rookie performances of all time. He came in, he dominated. He won a rookie of the year. I believe he got an All Pro as well. Dude, we all just thought he was destined to be the next best dual threat QB in the league. Um, that 2013 or 14 season, RG3 was already playing on a messed up knee before, and he reached that and I like the snap messed up, and he ended up hurting his knee more.
Was that in the playoffs? I
I want
think
to say
is
it
when he
was.
originally heard it.
Yeah, he was playing. Well, I think it might have been in the regular season because he played 4 weeks after. Like he played 4 weeks,
Uh,
due up to May when he already had when it was already messed up some. But that just kind of that knee injury led to a down spiral of RG3. He could never just get his mojo back after that. Um, Now he's making TikToks and stuff. Definitely
the
want to see
analyst.
what.
He's a college football analyst.
Yeah, he is an
yeah.
analyst. We seen a lot of his face during during the pro days and the combine this year. Um, I love RG3 as a person. He seems like a nice, uplifting dude.
Tried to
I
get the
definitely want to
He
see, huh?
um,
Yeah,
I seen
probably.
that
Will.
he ran like a 4.4 at some I
Yeah,
think
he
at
ran a
the
4.41.
combine, and
Yeah.
yeah, and so obviously he's still gifted athletically, but it just didn't work out for him. Yeah, he did have a very great rookie season. The well, the Washington, I'll say, was everybody was excited for him to see what he could build on that, but it's kind of hard to predict or even evaluate how good he would have been because it was like so early. Like right away, he didn't even have a chance to break out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right away, he was just out of the league. Well, not out of the league, but he lost a lot of his star potential after his injuries,
Mm-hmm. Hated
and
for him.
that's another reason why I think the game of football has slowly starting to change in favor of the quarterbacks more and more each year. They want more of these young talents out on the field that can stay out and play and bring in revenue, and like they don't want any more of like the RG3s or the Andrew Lucks or like people like that. They definitely are trying to protect the quarterbacks as much as they can and limit the defenses, and that's definitely a part of the reason why I say.
yeah, 100%. Uh, those lists, like I didn't on one list. I
Yeah.
didn't hear anything that I disagree with on any of those lists. Just like, and almost all of we didn't all
Yeah.
the same
I
team
think
guys.
the
I like
only
the
one
variation.
we had was Andrew Luck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
everybody got their
the
own
only
player.
one.
But I would say I want to ask this question. Who do you guys think like the number one person or like I'm who has a better number one, I would say like who if they all were in a position, who would have the better career out of all three of our number one picks?
Ooh.
I feel like it would definitely be either Antonio Brown or my guy Peyton Manning. The
Yeah.
only reason why I
Now
would
Peyton,
discount RG3 is because yeah, we've seen greatness from him, but there's still a lot of stuff in the quarterback position that's like I feel like the other two guys have like proven. Like RG3, there's been a lot of quarterbacks who's had great rookie seasons or like started off good but then failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he definitely had the abilities like athletically. Um, he had was was the Shanahan's his coach at the time, Mike Shanahan, and I think
yeah,
I'm not
they
sure
had
exactly,
they
but I
had an
think on the
insane coaching tree.
did they have like Kyle
They had McVay
Shanahan and Mike
and Kyle,
McDaniel and McVay? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So they,
all of those
yeah,
guys.
maybe actually now that I think about, it, he might have could have been something because
You
those
might,
are those are the
but
two the probably the three prominent young like coaches in the league right now. It's McVay, Shanahan, and now newly McDaniels. Let's see what he does with the Dolphins. But yeah, that was a crazy coaching staff.
It was.
um, but to wrap us up, three great lists. Almost players, a lot of good explanations. But this like was really fun to do. This list was
It
really fun to
was.
Yeah, it
create.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions you guys want to throw out there
Well, my
before we
Uh,
honorable
close?
mention was Aaron Hernandez, but I already explained that earlier. I don't think I would have another honorable mention. I'm not sure.
yeah, I don't think I would. I don't think
Mine's is probably
Uh,
Colin Kaepernick if he never took a stand for what he believed in.
that's a good one. I wouldn't. That's a good one. He definitely would have had a better career. Maybe not top whatever, but he definitely would have had there would have been
he
a
would have
lot of
added
things
on.
changed with that because Jimmy would have went to the Niners. Trey Lance probably
would it have been with the Niners for a while? Like I feel like there's a lot that would have changed
Yeah,
with that. There's so
that's the
many.
butterfly effect.
Yeah, there's a big butterfly effect in everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't think. I know when I first created my list, I had names, and I know I took some off, but I'm not. It's not coming to my head right now for an honorable mention.
That was my
Yeah, I don't know.
one.
Yeah, I really wouldn't add anything. I didn't have an I don't remember anything. Um, but like I said before, 3 great lists. Players. Um, this was a it went
Yeah,
it went really it flowed really. Um, so
yeah.
that
This is my first time. Oh, my bad. Well,
I'll
I'll
wrap
say
up.
this real quick. This is my first time doing like a podcast or anything like this, and I've been wanting to do it for a while, so I had fun. I want to thank you guys again. Hopefully, I could come on another time, speak my opinions. I should. The next time y'all do anything Patriots related, y'all need to have me on there
Yeah,
because
yeah.
We got you.
y'all crapped on the Patriots before, like in y'all TikToks and then on your Twitter. I wasn't. That didn't sit well with me, but we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, you can close us out.
All right. With that being said, thank you for all who tuned in on Twitch. Thank you for all who's going to tune in and post on Spotify and Apple Pie and to we'll catch. Until then, this has been Deuce Deck and y'all on the next one.